Assalamu alaikum. I am Professor Muhammad Ikram. Welcome to my YouTube channel, All Things Linguistic. It's chapter 12 of the High School English Grammar and Composition, and it's about the position of adjectives. We already know that adjectives qualify nouns and pronouns. An adjective which is used immediately before the noun is called an attribute. And we also say that adjective is used attributively. An adjective which qualifies or modifies the subject of a sentence but is part of the predicate is said to be used predicatively. So, in this video, in this lecture, I'm going to explain to you guys what is the correct position or natural position of adjectives in a sentence. A single adjective, if it is used attributively, if it is used placed immediately before a noun, if adjective, a single adjective is used to qualify or modify a noun, it is generally placed immediately before a noun. For example, you just look at this sentence. King Francis was a hearty king and loved a royal sport. In this sentence, king is a noun, and a single adjective hearty is used here to modify the noun king. When a single adjective is used to modify a noun, it is generally used attributively. I mean, it is used immediately before a noun. Now look at this second example. Where are you going, my pretty maid, with your rosy cheeks and golden hair? Here, maid is a noun, and pretty is an adjective. A single adjective is used to modify the noun maid. That is the reason it is used attributively, immediately before the noun. Similarly, rosy cheeks, cheeks is a noun and plural number, and rosy is an adjective that is modifying this noun. A single adjective is used to modify the noun. That is the reason it has come immediately before the noun, which is called an attributive use, or the adjective is also called an attribute. Similarly, golden hair, hair is a noun, and it is being qualified by the noun, by the adjective golden. A single adjective is modifying the noun here. And we know that when a single adjective is used attributively, it is placed immediately before the noun. So, golden and rosy and pretty, these adjectives are used attributively. And when an adjective is used attributively, it is placed immediately before the noun. Now, look at this third sentence. Oh, Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. Fearful trip. Trip is down. And this noun is being modified by adjective fearful. A single adjective is being used attributively. That is, it is being placed immediately before a noun. Now, we have seen that whenever a single adjective is used to modify a noun, it is generally used attributively, that is, immediately before the noun. Now, look at the difference in meaning. Difference in meaning. A great nobleman's son. A great nobleman's son. And a nobleman's great son. In the first sentence, or a first phrase, a great nobleman's son Adjective great is describing nobleman's son. Adjective great is modifying and qualifying the noun nobleman. Who is great? The nobleman is great. But in the second sentence or phrase, a nobleman's great son, great is modifying the noun son. In the first sentence, greatness is the quality of the nobleman. In the second sentence, greatness is a quality of the son. So, by changing the position of an adjective in a sentence, we can change the meaning. A great nobleman's son. Great is used attributively and it is describing nobleman. In the second statement, great is again being used attributively, but this time it is describing son. The position of adjective, the change in the position of an adjective occurs, results into a change in meaning. And in poetry, however, adjective is frequently placed after them. Placed after the noun. For example, children, dear. Children is a noun and plural number, and it is being modified by adjective dear. We have seen above that when a single adjective is used to modify or qualify a noun, it is normally used attributively, immediately before the noun. But if that was the case of a prose. If we wish to use a single adjective in poetry, adjective would normally come after the noun, like children, dear. Was it yesterday? We heard the sweet bells over the bay, and oh man with sisters dear. No, you're like sisters is a noun in plural number, and dear is an adjective. This adjective, if it were a sentence of prose, dear would have come immediately before sisters. But since it's poetry, and poetry very frequently place the attribute after them. Now, in these examples, we have seen how to use a single adjective to modify a noun or a pronoun. Now, if we want to use several adjectives to describe a noun, how we ought to use or place those nouns, those adjectives. Look at this example. There dwelt a miller, hale and bold. Two adjectives have been used to modify the noun miller. When several adjectives are used to modify a noun, they are generally placed after them. Now look at the second statement. The king, fearless and resolute, at once advanced. Fearless and resolute are two adjectives, and both these adjectives are describing the noun king. When more than one adjective is used to describe a noun, they are generally placed after the noun. Franklin had a great genius. Genius is original, sagacious, and inventive. Three adjectives have been used. So all these three adjectives have been used after the noun genius. When several adjectives are used, they are generally placed after the noun. And we do this. Why do we do this? We do this for emphasis. Now, when some word or phrase is joined to an adjective to explain its meaning, for example, look at this sentence. He was a man fertile in resource. Fertile is an adjective. The fertile can mean many different things. A female is fertile if she successfully conceives a pregnancy. Even land, agricultural land is fertile if the soil is full of nutrients for the plant. So fertile can mean many different things. So what shade of meaning should we insert here? In resource, this phrase in resource is explaining the meaning of fertile. In resource is explaining the adjective. When a phrase is joined to an adjective, like resource is joined to fertile to explain its meaning. If a phrase is joined to an adjective to explain that adjective would generally come after the noun. So fertile, this adjective fertile is modifying the noun man. But since it's fertile, its meaning is incomplete unless we join it to a phrase that explains its meaning. He was a man fertile in resource. Fertile is modifying the noun man. And this fertile, its meaning is being explained by the phrase in resource. When an adjective is attached with a phrase, and that phrase explains its meaning, the meaning of the adjective, that adjective is placed after the noun, like in this example. Look at this other example. A Sikh taller than any of his comrades rushed forward. Here, taller is an adjective that is modifying the noun Sikh. But than any of his comrades, this phrase is a phrase is joined to the adjective taller. And when a phrase is joined to an adjective to explain that adjective together with that phrase would come after the noun seek. Now, in certain phrases, adjectives always come after them. For example, apparent is an adjective. In this phrase, apparent would always come after the noun air. Time immemorial is an adjective. In this phrase, this adjective would always come after the noun time. Similarly, Lord paramount is an adjective, and this adjective would always come after the noun Lord. Viceroy elect is an adjective, and this adjective would always come after the noun viceroy. Letters patent is an adjective, and this adjective would always come after the noun letters. Similarly, notary public is an adjective, and this adjective would always come after the noun notary. Body politic is an adjective, and it would always come after the noun body. God Almighty is an adjective, and this adjective would always come after the noun God. In these phrases and some others, adjectives, although they are single adjectives, and we know that single adjectives are normally used attributively, they come immediately before the noun if it's prose. But in uh, these phrases are an exception to the rule. In these phrases, although single adjective is modifying the noun, but that single adjective would come after the noun in these phrases, just like we have seen in the poetry. So this lecture was about the position of adjectives in a sentence. I hope the lecture was helpful. Thank you for watching.